Ethereum holders are currently getting the worst of it. Not only is the triangle scenario invalidated from our previous video, but we are now narrowed down to only two pathways. One suggesting one more move to the upside as we have here, and the other one suggesting far more levels, which we'll go over in just a second, making this possibly the worst rally ever to happen in crypto history when taking fractals into consideration, as other coins have already rallied. In this video, we're going to be figuring out which one may have the higher chance, so please make sure to watch this video thoroughly. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the XForceGlobal channel. I am a certified Elliott Wave analyst, and I'm here to provide non-biased updates for both Bitcoin and altcoins, and on top of that, provide added personal sentiment on how I am currently seeing the markets. Just a quick friendly reminder to please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Your support means everything to me. So getting right into the analysis, Ethereum, like I have said, has invalidated a possible larger triangle due to the fact that it has broken the previous subwave of this wave C here of a triangle. Now, it was getting quite unusual in terms of how the triangle was forming. However, it was the highest probability when we were looking for a bullish continuation, as we were also expecting not only Bitcoin, but a lot of other altcoins that have a very high market cap to continue its run. But right now, Ethereum is doing a very, very abysmal run this current cycle, and it's just ranging within this move here. But that doesn't mean it's out of the woods yet for both the bears and bulls. We're just kind of in limbo here. We're just ranging. So could this mean that it's an accumulation, or could this mean that it's a distribution for far more levels to the downside? Like I said, we are now only narrowed down to two scenarios, and right now, if we are zoomed out, we should really, when we get a scenario invalidated on such a macro scale, start to zoom out once again and see how we can arrange the scenario as best as we can. And right now, this is the best way we can do it from a top-down analysis. If we're taking the price action from the inception of Ethereum's run, we can see that all the way dating back from 2015, this is the best way I would count it. I would say that we are working in possibly a five-way move into a cycle wave one. And this is really, in my opinion, I don't think that this is going to be an extension continuation to the upside where we're going to see some outrageous levels to the upside. I think the only way we can see this is a possible cycle 1-2 being in the making here, and even the bearish scenario still is going to be extending this cycle wave 2. So either way, even with this bullish scenario to the upside where we may be missing one more leg to the upside, we could still, and we're still in quite danger territory when we're taking the macro scale of things, and we can still be seeing a larger pullback for how this wave 2 is going to be playing out. So what does that mean? I think the best way I have concluded from a market psychology perspective is that market maturity might now be setting in place for a larger cycle wave 1-2. Now, what is the market psychology or market maturity theory? It's really just that we are now finished with not only the retail phase, but also the institutional phase. We're now just kind of figuring out how the next cycle is playing out in an extended way in terms of the time. So if that happens, that means that we're completely in a different era now in terms of the transitional wave, in terms of how we can be seeing a very cyclical, fractal nature of just 5s and 3s to the upside. We may now be working with more complex patterns. So if that's the case, one of the best ways that we can possibly put it, without being too outrageous for bullish and bearish scenarios, is that we may be working in a sideways consolidation for quite some time before we actually rally out of here. Now, this is not unusual because in market maturity phases, we've seen this in the stock market. For example, Tesla, it's done around like almost a decade of a sideways movement around the $300 range before the actual stock split happened. We saw Tesla ranging for 6, 7, 8, 9 years before it actually went for a massive rally. So could this also be applied for Ethereum? I think that this may also be applicable. And it's just a theory right now. It's not, set in stone. We could still rally and go for one more move. But either way, even if we do get a rally to the upside, as I would still suspect that some kind of larger pullback is looming. And at that point, right now, especially with the cryptocurrency markets with Bitcoin, is that a lot of these altcoins are decoupling from each other. The Bitcoin dominance is still arguably at a high level in terms of the metric. Bitcoin as well, it's not rallying as we expected. There's a lot of, situational awareness going on in terms of where people are positioned as well. So what does this mean for Ethereum holders? I think that Ethereum is in a very dire situation, meaning that this move here is all just corrective. It's not in nature. We've already had so many opportunities, 6-7 months ago, for this to be a possible 1-2-1-2 of some sort, to be a bullish continuation where we had, a 1-2-1-2 idea. But as you can see, we're not getting that. And, for having 4 to 5 years, or 3 to 5 years rather, of data, that's quite telling. And it's going to be, a self-fulfilling prophecy if a, massive move happened to the upside. But right now, we're just not seeing that. So that's where we have to really come back down to earth, take the market maturity idea into play, and in serious thought, it really is a possibility that we're going to be just ranging here for the next, 6 years or so, who knows. But for the time being, it's decoupled with not only Bitcoin, but every other altcoin as well. It's really working in its own timeline. And right now, the only way I can see a bullish structure is possibly this being a complex structure of a part of a larger flat idea. Now, this is still very bullish in regards to, if we take it from the low of 2022, even if it were to meet the expectations of a B wave target, that's still a 10x gain from that low level as well, right? So it's not too much to ask for in that regard. It is a very strong move. It's a very handsome reward, but when we're talking in the sense of crypto markets, a lot of you are just seeing straight up arrows, and that is where we might have to make some expectations that this might not actually happen. So with that being said, the only way I can see it is a possible ABC going into wave W, and then we also have a possible ABC, and then an ABC, and then another, some kind of C wave being built. Like I've already tried to create how the C wave could be built out, but it is extremely difficult, and that is why the market inefficiencies are coming into play here. And right now, the only way is that, number one, we have to set market inefficiencies, force some counts in at least the latter half of what this range could be for this possible C wave as an ABC flat idea. And if so, the only way to resolve it is to have another move out of here. And again, that's quite low in probability already. So that in itself, in that sense, in the sense that we're not even going to see a major rally to the upside, is that I think that the maximum level of this possible bull market for Ethereum is going to be around the 123.6% level, around $7,200, all the way up to possibly $9,000 to $10,000. Now, again, that's still a very handsome reward target, but is that something that, going to be people make happy as well? Are we going to be happy about that? And I think not really. It's a very, very sad situation for Ethereum holders, in my opinion. So that brings me on to what could be also a more arguably higher probability scenario, since we've already invalidated such a large macro scale triangle, is a possible larger WXY, and we're now working for a wave Y, where this was the biggest sucker rally of all time in crypto history. So if that's the case, now if we're just being a little bit more, logical to the situation, this fits arguably much better as a WXY XZ to the upside for a wave X. Now, this is a very rare pattern in itself, but if you have 4 to 8 years of data and it's just correctively overlapping, it's not working in a 5-wave impulse manner, it's arguably all working in corrective 3-wave fashions, there is a good chance that we might just have to accept that this is a wave X and we're not going to be even breaching the all-time high. So if that's the case, this move here is considered a wave ABC going into a W. Wave X is now this entire corrective rally as some kind of WXYXZ. The placement of this X could be arguable as well, subjective in nature, but it doesn't change the overall top-down analysis that this could also be, not only due to breaking that triangle idea, but also breaking this previous low, is that it's now entering a possible transitional phase for this wave Y to the downside as a wave 2. So if that's the case, we have this 100% level and this 161.8% level, that's $700 to the $200 region, where that might be the next opportunity to accumulate Ethereum before it actually runs out of here. So I'm not saying it's done in terms of the bear market or the bull market. I'm just saying that this is probably the most logical approach when it comes to just the wave theory, because we have to be non-biased as much as we can. And even though the heart says you want a bull market, the logic says it might not be. So that is the biggest dilemma when it comes to not only being a trader, but also an Elliottian. So if we're also sticking to that market maturity idea as well, this idea fits that idea in terms of this still being a corrective move. Overall, this was just a bearish corrective rally that we've had for 2 to 3 years, and we now just may be working in totality, what could be a 4 or 5 year bear market that we were not expecting to happen. And these levels are going to be the next acting level of support. I don't think that we're going to be definitely not breaching the $100 levels, but I do definitely think that there's a possibility that $700 to $200 could also be retested. So if that were to happen, it's all opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. This presents, from a market perspective of a top-down analysis, one of the best looking structures when it comes to the overall macro structures, arguably even better than Bitcoin, because we also have history for Ethereum where we also now have a result, 5-wave move to the upside going into a cycle wave 1. And now this just may be a larger wave 2 in the making, and we may now be working to the upside very soon. But again, like I said, the bears are not out of the woods yet. The bulls are not out of the woods just yet. And the two scenarios is that we are looking for some kind of confirmation on whether a support is going to be created or not. In my opinion, the only way we can gain confidence is that if we break above $3,000. And if we break above $3,000, then we're definitely increasing or upping the ante for the probability for a bullish continuation for this last leg to the upside for a $9,000 to a $10,000 possible ultimate and target. If not, and the bearish rally or bearish sentiment continues, then there is a very high possibility that we may just be creating the first leg of a wave A instead of a wave C of a flat that may be created. Then we're going to have an expected B wave rally of some sort, and that in itself should be a sizable rally. It won't be a massive rally, but it will be a sizable rally that you can also possibly take swing positions. And then it'll just be another distribution phase. Why? Because this is now support turned resistance. And if we break below and then we get a retest of these levels here, then there's a very good chance that depending on how far it goes up, depending on how this wave terminates, we can find eventually the Fibonacci resistance of, at least between the 38.2 to the 61.8%, preferably the 61.8%, as that is a major golden Fibonacci level. Then we'll start seeing another extended rally to the downside. Now, depending on how far that extends, that's all part of what the wave theory presents to us in terms of Fibonacci wave extension targets. But for now, the overall thing that we have here, if this wave X is terminated here, and we take the origin of wave W, the termination point of wave W, and then the termination point of wave X, we can take these levels and have a projected target of around $800 to the $200 levels. So that is how we're looking at Ethereum, ladies and gentlemen. There's really no way of looking at this from an impulsive move to the downside, nor a massive move to the upside. And we're just in a series of corrective rallies right now. And if that's the case, even with the most bullish scenario, I would say that this level here, around $7,000 to the $9,000 levels, is going to be the final target for me if this bullish rally were to continue. I'm not currently positioned in Ethereum. I'm currently positioned only in a few other altcoins like Litecoin and XRP, just due to the fact that they have a far better overall structure, and XRP has also shown strength and some kind of resolvement within the actual price action, that I still hold 50% of my XRP. But when it comes to Ethereum, even with all of this, even with that triangle that we've been discussing, I don't think that scenario was enough for me to say to go into Ethereum in terms of getting into a possible position. So I've been quite clear about this, not only on here, but also on my social media. I think many of you are also very clear on what I am positioned in. And right now, the markets are heavily decoupled, and Ethereum is one of the coins that is heavily decoupled with the markets. So if that's the case, I would say, to summarize everything, I know you guys like the summaries. If we get a move above 3,000, then there's definitely a chance that this could be turning into a wave ABC to the upside for the last wave Y, which will be the last corrective rally to the upside up into that $10,000 region. And then if that's the case, then we're going to be looking for another pullback regardless, or we just go straight into the bear market. Now, I know, like I said, this is where logic versus irrationality plays into consideration, right? Heart says yes, we want higher levels, but the mind and logic also portrays to us that it may not be the case, right? Because the markets are always right. It's not Trump, it's not Elon Musk, it's not Michael Saylor who's dictating the markets. They can influence the markets, but they're not dictating it. There's a very big difference there. So with that being said, the last final scenario, in my opinion, could be that this was the biggest sucker rally of all time, that this could have been just a wave X of a larger bear market rally that we were looking at that many people didn't expect. And we could be looking at $700 to $200 as a possible ultimate and target. And to confirm this, we would need a very clear 5-wave structure to the downside, which we don't have yet. And if we do, we're going to be expecting a B-wave rally no matter what. And the ultimate confirmation will be if this is a 3-wave move to the upside, support turn resistance area. And if we get a rejection from there, there is a very high likely chance that this level here is going to be acting as resistance once again. And that will be the ultimate confirmation of the final leg to the downside. So hopefully that was helpful. Maybe you guys got a second opinion on this. I'm very sorry for a lot of people who are in Ethereum. It's a very tough situation within the crypto markets. Sometimes it's just luck. You just got to choose the right coins. But for us, we chose the right coins for XRP. And we're still monitoring and observing how Litecoin is playing out. So thank you very much. I will see you guys in the next video. Please make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We do more timely updates within the Discord membership. So if you're interested in joining that, the links are in the description below. Please don't hesitate to contact me. We also do offer a Patreon membership for those who are interested in joining that as well. We have the links in the description below as well. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye.